Hi, I'm Donna Wolfe from Naztazia.com.
Today, I'll show you how to crochet this woven heart. It's a nice decoration that can be made in cotton or acrylic depending upon what you use it for. I'm using about 100 yards of yarn in 3 colors and a size I or J crochet hook. I'm using 2 strands of yarn held together for this pattern, so I'm using both the inside and outside strands of this yarn skein. To begin this pattern, use your 2 strands of yarn held together and then make a slip knot. After that, we'll then chain 4. Slip stitch to form a ring. Chain 3. That will count as 1 double crochet stitch. In this ring, make 7 more double crochet stitches. From now on, we're going to work in rows instead of rounds, so at the end, chain 3 and then turn your work. So for that first row, we ended with 8 total double crochet stitches. Now this first chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so we'll make another double crochet in the same spot. Going forward, we're going to make 2 double crochet stitches in each stitch on this semicircle row. If all goes well, you will have made 16 double crochet stitches on this row 2 of our semicircle. You can sort of see the top half of one of the heart sides starting to form now. For row 3, we'll begin with a chain 3, which counts as a double crochet stitch. And we'll turn our work and make a double crochet stitch in the same spot. Then we'll make a double crochet stitch in the next stitch. Going forward on this row, we'll do the pattern of 2 double crochet stitches followed by a double crochet in the next stitch. You will have a total of 24 double crochet stitches once you have completed row 3. We're finished with making stitches for the semicircle at this point. Now we have to make the 4 strands that form the weaving at the bottom of the heart. So for this first strand, we're going to chain 17. And if you notice, I did not turn my work after finishing row 3 of the semicircle. You'll make a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and then a double crochet stitch in each of the remaining chain stitches along this first strand. Once you finish making double crochet stitches along each of the chain stitches, we need to connect this strand to the main semicircle. To do that, we're going to find a space along the edge in between row 3 and row 2. It doesn't have to be precise or perfect. Make a slip stitch at the end to connect this first strand to the semicircle. Moving on to the second long strand, we're going to make a chain 2, and then we need to find a spot somewhere between row 2 and row 1. And we're going to make a slip stitch into it. This simply prepares us for our second strand. And then for the second strand, we're going to make a chain 17 again. And as before, we'll make a double crochet stitch in the 4th chain from the hook, and then a double crochet stitch in each of the chains across this strand. Once you have completed the second strand, we need to again connect it to the semicircle part. This time, we're going to find the edge stitch from the first row and make a slip stitch somewhere along the edge of it, close to the center of the original chain 4 ring. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, and this part won't really be seen in the final heart. Then we chain 2, and this time we'll make a slip stitch into the other side of the first row's edge stitch. And as you can see, it's a little tricky sometimes to get that crochet hook into the edge of this first row's stitch. All of this work is preparing us for our third strand that appears at the bottom of our heart that we will be weaving in later. So for this third strand, we make our chain 17 again, then we make a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook and in each stitch across, and then this time we're going to slip stitch in between rows 1 and 2 to connect the third strand to the semicircle. Then make another chain 2 and slip stitch in between rows 2 and 3. This is preparing us for our 4th and final strand. So begin the process with the chain 17 again. At the end of this 4th strand, we're just going to slip stitch to the very edge of our semicircle. You can see what this looks like thus far. Now that you have made one of these heart halves, you can make a second one in a different color. When you go to weave in the strands, I would suggest pausing the video and looking at a photo of the heart itself so you can see what strands go where. The strands don't always want to stay connected, so it helps to use a hair clip or safety pin to keep the edges in place. Now, to connect everything together, I use a single strand of white yarn in this case, and place a slip knot on my hook. Then I find the center of the heart in between the two halves and make a single crochet stitch, followed by a chain 1. Then I continue making a single crochet stitch, followed by a chain 1, until right before the first woven strand. Now, my first woven strand is that light pink yarn, and it needs to go behind the main part of the heart. All of these strands have the thickness of 3 single crochet stitches. So, when you go along the edges, each of these edges will be a 3 set of a single crochet chain 1 pattern. So, there's my second single crochet stitch, chain 1 for this strand, and then I'll work on my third single crochet chain 1 to complete connecting this one particular strand to the edge of the heart. And then after this strand, right before the next strand, you should be able to put just one single crochet chain 1 without needing to connect any strands. Now I need to connect this next strand, which is a light pink again, but this time this strand needs to be in front. So you can see how I'm putting my third and final single crochet chain 1 to connect this strand to the heart edging. And then I continue working around the heart, placing the light pink stitches either in front or behind the main section. When you get to the bottom of the heart, I just repeat the process again, going around the other side of the heart. I'm still placing 3 sets of single crochet chain 1 stitches in each of the woven strands that form the bottom section of the heart. So continue forming the edging around the heart, connecting the strands either in the front or back as needed. And here's what my crochet woven heart looks like once completed.